Most people don't waste their years because they're lazy. They waste them on autopilot. You wake up, you scroll, you compare, you react, and suddenly it's December again, and you're asking, what did I even do this year? In this video, I'm gonna show you how to not waste 2026 without turning your life into a productivity bootcamp. Because the truth is, you can hit every goal and still feel like you wasted your year. Or you can fail half of them, but still look at 2026 thinking, that year changed me. I'm not here to make you feel behind. I'm here to help you design 2026 in a way that feels like you. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Veronika. Here I make videos on self-improvement, sustainable habits, and creating a life you love. If you want to go deeper, I have a few tools that might support you. Aligned, my free weekly newsletter. The Life Design Notion template, which includes habit tracking, goal setting, and reading organization. The weekly planner, a simple one-page document you can print every week. I'll leave all the links below if you want to explore them later. Alright, so the first principle I'm gonna follow in 2026 to live a more intentional life is don't set goals, set emotional destinations. The thing is, right now, a lot of us are gonna set a lot of amazing goals for 2026. But usually people set tasks for the year, like learn this, save this, do this. And of course that is great, but the reason why we abandon most of them is because those goals are not anchored in the emotional why. So what I do instead to create those systems is I first ask myself how I want to feel. How do I want to feel in 2026? And then you create systems and goals that generate those emotions. Because if you just choose a bunch of random goals that don't even feel like you, there's a very high chance that you're gonna, abandon them halfway through the year. And that is completely normal because you don't really feel anything when you think about those things. When your goal is a specific feeling, the year can't be wasted. Honestly, this whole approach, setting emotional systems or emotional destinations, is something that I learned at the beginning of 2025. And I learned it the hard way because for many years, I had a very difficult relationship with working out. I didn't really like working out that much, but I knew it was important. Like, I knew my body craved some kind of movement because most of my day I just work in front of my computer. I don't really move much. The problem was I didn't really know how to support myself for this whole journey, and I set a goal. I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. And you know what? After a few months, I absolutely hated the whole process because I didn't really like going to the gym. When I realized that enough was enough, I sat down and I started thinking how I would want working out to feel. I wanted it to feel grounding yet powerful. I wanted to stretch my body, but at the same time, I wanted to grow muscle. I realized that what I really like is any type of body weight movement. Yoga, handstands, whatever it is. And I was only able to discover all of that after I asked myself how I wanted to feel. And then after exploring all of those feelings, I was able to find a type of movement that I enjoyed most. Okay, so now let's talk about the next principle that is going to help you not waste 2026. Live by your values, not vibes. The thing is, most people live by momentum, not intention. What it means is a lot of us aren't really consciously choosing our days. We're just continuing whatever we're doing because it's familiar, it's easy, or automatic. We wake up and immediately grab our phone because it's something we're used to and we don't really think about it much. And this way, you're not really deciding your life. Your past patterns are. And so 2026 becomes meaningful when every week is decided by your values. Not just, I'm doing it just because everyone is doing it. I don't really know. I haven't really thought about it. One thing that I'm still working on, but I'm so much better at it, is protecting my sleep, like creating boundaries around my sleep. Instead of immediately going to bed when I need to go to bed, I keep on, checking something on my phone, and it takes a lot of time, and it also makes me feel very anxious, and that's not how I want to feel before I go to bed. And so now that I'm listening to my internal compass more, my values, I only have my e-reader close to my bed. That's it. Like, I literally do not touch my phone. And the thing is, I sabotage myself so often. I know that I shouldn't be on my phone, but I keep on scrolling. I keep on wasting hours just being on my phone instead of sleeping and actually getting this restorative deep sleep. If you guys are wondering what your values are, I highly recommend writing down a list of 5 core values. And I always recommend this exercise, this values list by James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. The first thing I recommend you do is just choose everything, because I think there are 50 values here, so there are a lot of things that will resonate with you, and you're gonna feel like, oh my god, it's overwhelming, so many things, how can I choose only 5? So the first time you choose your values, just choose everything, like everything that resonates with you. And then the second time you look over your list, you actually choose 5 core values. Okay, so the next principle is honestly one of my favorite. Choose one identity shift, not 100 different goals. With this huge trend on reinventing yourself every single month, becoming a completely new person, we have forgotten that achieving goals isn't really becoming this perfect version of you, because again, perfectionism is a trap. And so instead of trying to become 10 different people, I think it's so much better to just pick one main identity shift, like one main thing that you would like to focus on. We all know from Atomic Habits and other books that the strongest change in your life happens when you actually shift your identity. But you can't keep on changing your identity every single month. I mean, that's very, I don't know, it makes you very anxious, because if you constantly reinvent yourself every single month, then who are you? One big identity shift I wanted to focus on in 2025 is I wanted to stop saying that I was too lazy to work out. When people would ask me, like, what's your workout routine? I would say, I don't really like working out. I'm too lazy, because deep down I knew I was lying to myself. It was easier for me to say, I'm too lazy, instead of actually going into this topic, examining it, and changing something about it. So in 2026, pick one shift. Everything else flows from your identity. Alright, so the next big principle I want to follow in 2026 is replace shame motivation with self-respect. You can obviously still achieve all of your goals even if you talk to yourself like an enemy. You don't like something about yourself, you want to change it, and you constantly criticize yourself until you actually make that switch. Do I like to achieve my goals this way? Not anymore. I used to do that, and this does not feel good. I think self-respect is something that helps you create this sustainable momentum, and shame kills it. Nothing grows in a hostile environment, not your goals, not your habits. Next, let's talk about doing monthly mini audits instead of big annual resets. I truly believe that the best time to reflect is not in December. It's actually every single month. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be anything big. I just want you to start practicing the small monthly check-in ritual. Analyzing the whole year in December often feels, I don't know, like scary. It makes you feel anxious because it's a lot of work. But if you course correct every single month, that really prevents big regrets later. What drained me this month? Because I'm all about protecting my energy, protecting my peace. So I need to see if I am spending my energy correctly and if I'm recharging correctly as well. What energized me this month? What did I avoid? Why? And then what one small adjustment would make next month feel more aligned? What I like to do at the end of the year though is I like to create this highlight folder. It's basically a folder on my phone where I save all of the highlights of the previous year. It can be photos, small wins, some, moments that make me feel good, or maybe some funny screenshots, things that I learned, things that I didn't accomplish, like all of the things that basically represent the year for me. This way you're focusing on your life instead of watching everybody else's highlight reels. You will see the evidence of all of the growth that happened that year. Now that I've mentioned the highlight reels, let's talk about curating your inputs. Because we do talk a lot about protecting your energy, but we often forget this simple truth. You become what you consume, emotionally, mentally, creatively. And so that is why one of the most powerful things you can do this year is curate who gets access to your mind. Because let's be honest, your mind is not a public space. It shouldn't be. It's a table, it's a private table, and not everyone deserves a seat. Right now, most of the people start their day like this. You wake up, and for a few seconds, you have your own wonderful, amazing thoughts. And then you grab your phone, you open social media, and all of a sudden, 10 different people already sit at your table that was supposed to be sacred. Someone's productivity routine, someone's aesthetic morning, someone's vacation, someone's new purchase, someone's drama. Your mood is already set by the world before you get to choose your own direction. The thing that I really like to ask myself right now every single morning is, do I really want to have this person at my table in my mind right now at 7 a.m.? And most of the time, the answer is no. Okay, and finally, one thing that I want to do in 2026 is I want to be courageous enough not to cling to what expired. Here I want to share something personal, something that I haven't really talked about in this way. If you didn't know, I built my very first YouTube channel from 0 to over 1 million subscribers. That is exactly why I have these 2 YouTube awards. And I'm honestly so grateful for that journey. It taught me so many beautiful things. I learned so many amazing skills, and it was my dream for so long, and it changed my life. But throughout the years, I started feeling like I wanted to stop making content there. I was making language learning content, and I realized that I was ready for something else, for my next chapter. And honestly, guys, it wasn't a spontaneous decision. It wasn't something that I felt, and then the next day I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop making videos on that YouTube channel. No, it literally took me 2.5 years. For 2 years, I thought about all of those things over and over again, and at some point I realized that I was ready. Just because something was right for you then doesn't mean it's right for you now. And letting go is not quitting, it's choosing alignment. And something that I'm learning is that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving, doing something while feeling that fear. Because the thing is, it's not really the big leap that drains you. It's holding onto those expired identities quietly in the background. This is something that drains you so freaking much. And that is why right now I actually see letting go as a form of productivity. We often think about productivity as adding more, achieving something, getting something new. But sometimes the most productive thing you can do for your life is subtract, to free yourself from all of those outdated goals, to step away from a routine that actually drains you. Because nothing can change when your hands are full of what already ended. You cannot step into your next chapter if you're clinging to the last one out of fear. And letting go creates space for the opportunities that this new year is trying to give you. So guys, I think it's going to be it for today's video. Now you know how to plan for 2026. The next step is actually designing what you want this year to look like. So to learn how to create a vision board that actually works, click here. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you can, and I'll see you in my next video.